So I almost wasn't going to do this review because of the amount of trollage in this chapter, but I figured it would be, you know, a nice video to do 200 chapter celebration, as well as Magi's going to be going on a 2-week break, so pretty much almost 3 weeks we won't have a Magi chapter, so I decided, alright, screw it, you know, I'm going to do the review. This chapter, in so many different levels, Alibaba, I felt weird with him, because on one hand I was like, yo, when we get the bombshell that he's just been full of shit this entire time, I was like, all respect down the drain for Alibaba, gone. When we get the moment of him manning up and, you know, pretty much saying, yeah, I lied, I'm sorry, I gained all respect and then some back for Alibaba, because at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, real life, sometimes you do that. Sometimes you want to be the cool guy. Sometimes you don't want to be the outcast. Sometimes you want to, like, impress your friends, and you are going to lie. But the fact that he was willing to man up and not continue to lie and say, yo, you know, he could have easily said, Toto, why the fuck you lying, or something like that. But he didn't. He manned up, and, you know, he had the serious face on, the manly face. So I give props to Alibaba for that. Like, last week's chapter, I was like, yo, you dick. You fucking broke Morgiana's heart. But this week's chapter, like, even though throughout it, I was kind of like, yo, this fucking lying scumbag. In the end, he manned up, and I gotta give nothing but respect for that. Definitely some good shit from Alibaba. And aside from that major trollage of him pretty much fucking some gorilla lion type of monster, we got some slight knowledge about a couple other things. First of all, about the assimilation, where pretty much if you keep on doing it, even though we kind of already knew this, but we didn't know to what extent, when Masur was telling Morgiana that pretty much if you keep on doing it, you could even lose everything about you. Not only you'll turn into a monster, but you could lose your soul, your heart. You won't be you anymore if you keep doing it. And that's why Sinbad was pretty much telling them, yo, don't do it anymore. Because regardless of what, Sinbad does love his people, whether he's sneaky or whatever the case may be. Which leads to the other thing I wanted to talk about, where Masur kind of was hinting in a way that Sinbad might have lost his way. I mean, it's already been confirmed that he's fell into depravity, but now it's kind of like a little bit more with Masur, what he said, that like, yeah, Sinbad really is on some shady shit. Because first Jafar said, you know, pretty much, I feel as though you become a devious man, and then we also got in this chapter where Masur was like, would you be able to follow your master? And he slips up and says master because he's talking about himself. He says, would you be able to follow your master even if he lost his way? And I think he's talking about Sinbad. Does he mean exactly that Sinbad is, you know, on some evil shit? Is he referring to all the devious things and all the using and lying he's been doing? I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, I think we've gotten more than enough information to know that Sinbad at some given point might fully become a bad guy, which is unfortunate because I think we all love the character and think he's freaking awesome. And fuck Toto for that. Like, did you really have to bust him out? Did you really have to say he was fucking dating a monster, a gladiator monster? You couldn't just say, oh yeah, you know, yeah, that's my boyfriend, just for the sake of his humility. And the other thing in the chapter is it's Morgiana fighting with, trying to understand what her feelings really are, and you definitely get a glimpse of that, her like fighting, like, what is these emotions? She never really had that. She was a slave, so you get to see a little bit more of her emotions and her really just trying to figure out what she wants out of life and what she wants out of love and whatnot. And you can totally see that she's definitely feeling Alibaba, and she does want to be with him. I felt bad seeing her all dried up and looking all tired from just being restless over this situation. But nevertheless, this chapter definitely was very simplistic and basic. We didn't really get any progression aside from finding out that Alibaba is a liar. So I give this one a 4.5. It was slightly less than average because of the amount of progression, and just really, it was a trollage chapter. But we did get a little bit more hints at Sinbad and a little bit of information on assimilation and the progression of, okay, we're moving past this whole pairing war that got started. Oh, and by the way, Magi, the Kingdom of Magic, aka Season 2 of Magi, the Labyrinth of Magic, has started. I watched episode 1. It was pretty good so far, but in case anyone wanted to ask, I'm probably not going to be reviewing the anime episode just because I'm more so liking the manga. The anime, they kind of deviated a bit away with certain aspects, and I don't want to feel like disappointed again and have to do reviews where I'm just like, so I'm just gonna avoid reviewing the anime, but I will be watching it, and from time to time maybe I'll mention it in my manga chapter reviews. But let me know what you think of the chapter. First of all, Alibaba, were you glad that he was a liar, and do you respect him for coming out and manning up in the end and saying, yeah, I lied, I fucked up, even if he kind of teared up and felt bad for himself in the end? And also, do you see in the future possibly Sinbad's people just using assimilation to the point where they just end up not being themselves anymore and Sinbad really going off the deep end? But that's all I have for this review. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Thumbs up for 200 chapters of Magi, because it's been one hell of a ride. And while we get a 2-week break after this, it's kind of like, whoa, celebrating with a 2-week break and a gag chapter. Nonetheless, congrats. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day.